Okay. 401.
Okay, I'd like to open the meeting of the Hanson Board of Health for Tuesday, June 6th, 4 o'clock. 4:01, excuse me. The reason for reopening the meeting is a reorganization of the board to take a vote on the chairman, vice chair, and clerk.
Or just member.
Pardon?
Or member, we don't have a clerk.
So you're looking for a motion?
Looking for a motion.
And the meeting being recorded?
I'm sorry.
It is, yes.
Meeting's being recorded.
I'll make a motion for chairman nomination for Melissa Panetti.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call
Aye.
vote. Arlene, Kevin?
Yep.
All aye. 3-0.
Yes.
I'll make a motion for a nomination for vice chairman for myself.
I'll second.
All in favor?
What was that? 2?
I didn't say 2.
2, okay. I can't type that fast. Okay, go ahead.
Motion for member?
Oh, we have a chair, so you can do
That's
it now.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
You're official.
If
That's right. All in favor? 2, so.
2-0. 0-1, 2-1-0.
2-0-1?
A no or an
Are you
abstain?
no or no? Abstain. No.
Okay, so it's 2-1-0, right?
Okay, thank you.
All right. So, second order of business here is to approve, maybe improve, but approve the Board of Health minutes from the May 16th meeting. Did everybody have an opportunity to look at those?
Yes. Lots of them. I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of the May 16th meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye, for me. You just sign. All right, and next up, Adam. I'm going to
Don't try it.
butcher your last.
Yeah.
Tell me how to pronounce it.
Valkovic.
Valkovic. Oh, that's not that
I
hard.
always say it wrong.
Yeah, it really is.
I always thought it was Valachovic.
I just go with it, you know. Thank you for having me, guys. I know I've met, I think Melissa, I met you today, but everybody else I've met already in the past in different committees or circumstances. I appreciate you guys taking time to listen to this stuff that I had wanted to bring up. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm the chairman of Parks and Fields in town. One of the things under our purview is the Bottle Redemption Center at the transfer station. Gil and I have worked in the past when it was closed during COVID, and then we got it reopened. I think for those who've been in there, you can see how clean it is as far as the can room goes compared to what it used to be. You know, for context, in the past, just so you guys all know, because a lot of you don't really know what's going on in that room, we used to have Steve Graham at the Highway Department once every 6 weeks or so come. I would usually assist him with maybe 4 or 5 other guys to prep the room, which basically means take all that stuff out of those disgusting bags, put them into actual bags that a redemption center will accept, and then he would actually take a highway department truck and transfer it over to Temple Street Liquors in Whitman. So you guys have context, once again, between 6,000 and 8,000 cans every 6 weeks. So people are great about donating them. I think a lot of times even restaurants will come in, people have transfer station stickers, things like that. They just want to give back because all that money goes into our revolving account of Parks and Fields, right? So it's been a great relationship with the transfer station and us. The positive again is that Parks and Fields had a restructuring about 2 years ago. Instead of just me doing the can room forever, I got kind of tired of it, as you can imagine. I did recruit members of all the different sports in town. So now we have a football guy, and on Parks and Fields we have a softball guy, we have a couple baseball guys, we have a soccer people, you know. So we split it up so that it rotates between each sport every 6 weeks. They help prep the room. They bring kids in there. Not, you know, tiny little kids, but kids old enough to do this sort of work. It counts for volunteer hours. And then 2 months out of every 6 rotations we give to the Boy Scouts as well. they take the cash those couple months. They have done things like repaint the senior center gazebo. That's money that came from this can room. Okay. The negative is because Steve Graham became a manager at the highway department, his rate jumped up, supervisor, whatever his title is. So it used to be he was paid, I want to say, I don't know the numbers right offhand, but when he became a supervisor, to pay him a 4-hour minimum to just take the bottles 3 miles to Whitman from that Hanson location was basically, there's no profit in it at that point. And we'd be doing all this work to prep these cans to get literally nothing. I reached out to Teresa a few months ago. We did explore having an outside organization do this. Outside organizations are great. They give you less of a profit. They give you 4 cents a can versus 5. However, they ask for you to do everything beforehand. So when you prep these cans, as you might imagine, they come in bags. Sometimes there's 250 of these things in a bag. There's glass. There's every different kind of can you can imagine. We have to now separate them, or they wanted us to do this, into craft beer versus American beer, 16 ounce versus 12 ounce versus 20 ounce versus 24 ounce versus glass versus small glass. Softball did it for 2 weekends and got, I don't even know what they got done. Maybe like 10 bags full. They're like, nobody can do this because it's a full-time job. This is what redemption centers do, right? And this guy was great. He's like, oh, we're going to give you, because they're funded by state grants. He's like, we're going to give you helpers for free and they'll come in and we'll help you sort it. It's going to be awesome. Well, he must have ran this by his manager because the proposal we got was nothing. Like he told us in person. It was, no, we can give you people for $15 an hour. It's going to take us, again, we would make nothing out of it, right? And the point of this whole thing is to give some money to Parks and Fields. We're one of the smallest budgets in our town. Just so you guys have context, again, we're a $25,000 a year budget, and think of all the fields in town that we take care of. That includes fertilization, irrigation, everything else, right? So this does mean something to us for cash purposes. So why I'm here. The last year and a half, Pepper Santa Lucia, who's one of the members on the board with me, who's since left because he joined FinCom, but either way, he assists me in doing this. He has a farm in town, Red Acres Farm, for those that know the Red Acres sing-along and all that. They have livestock on site, so he has an old trailer meant for transporting goats that we hook up to a truck. So once every 6 weeks, we take the prep bags, put them into this giant goat trailer, and it takes us usually 2 or 3 trips to go over to Whitman, to the tune of maybe 4 or 5 hours. We try to do it when the transfer station's closed to not bother people when we're there because we're literally have this goat trailer. And again, while I'm here, this is not a rush thing. We can still do it. I'm just kind of concerned, like, what happens if the goat trailer gets broken? Or what happens if I leave Parks and Fields? Or if he doesn't want to do it anymore, that kind of thing. Because the transfer station itself is under the Board of Health's purview, I'm wondering if we brought sound minds together to figure out if there's a way, just a way, 6 to 7 times a year, we get transportation to bring those cans to Whitman. It's a 3-mile trip. That's it. And this would alleviate everything, right? We have the volunteerism in place to sort the cans from the sports organizations. I keep it clean every single weekend on Sundays when I go in for my trash anyway. Just kind of move everything back, clean up the shelves and stuff like that. But that's the one piece we just don't have, at least in perpetuity, right? And I'm sure there's somebody in town that has a truck big enough, like a highway department, that can literally come in. You're talking a 15, 20-minute process. Pick them up, we load them, they go to Whitman, we're done. And just, in a roundabout way, not to harp on this, but Gil, I'm sure you know this more than anyone, is when the can room was shut down for COVID, I talked to Chris, I talked to Johnny, those bins were cans. There was nothing else in those recycling bins but cans, which means all of that money you're paying for hauling, if that can room closes, they'll all be back in those green buckets. And you're talking 8,000 cans every 6 weeks. Think of how many more trips you're going to have to haul out of that transfer station if that room does close. And it could if we just can't get this, resolved eventually. It doesn't have to be immediate, but that's kind of why I'm here, right? And you guys can discuss it. It doesn't have to be in front of me, but I just kind of wanted to bring it to your attention. If we can come up with a solution through Board of Health, that would be awesome. You guys have more gravitas in town than I do.
Except no transportation. We don't have any vehicles at our disposal.
Yeah. And again, this could be more of a conversation amongst 2 boards to talk to a highway now, right? I've ran into issues forever. Kevin and I have dealt with the baseball fields a bunch of times, right? It's like, we have electricians on this town staff. Why don't electricians help out Parks and Fields for this electrical issue at the ball fields. I've had issues with water, replacing water pumps and head gaskets. Every year I can't use the water department because they only deal with metered water stuff. I should be able to go to the water department in our town to help out with town fields, right? But we don't do that. In this case, this seems like a very simple, so there's got to be a simple solution here somewhere, right? Hey guys, we need a truck for 20 minutes. Can somebody get us one?
I'm trying to think who has a truck. I don't know.
Right, because the town vehicles, when you go to town meetings, they're asking for vehicles because theirs are 100 years old. Do we have surplus maybe? And then, but that becomes a problem because it has to be insured. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I'm wondering, is there a specific thought you had around the transportation piece? I mean, I think we'd be having a different discussion if we had a truck that was under the purview of the Board of Health that we could then talk about.
I think it was more along the lines of, I know our transport station employees, highway employees technically.
They're under the highway.
So there is some
They're
sort of
under that
relationship
contract.
there.
The contract.
Yeah. And I think that was maybe where I thought, because highway they're the only ones that would have, or maybe water, would have a truck to do this.
Right.
It's gotta be a big vehicle, obviously, it can't be a pickup truck. But you guys might be able to talk to them differently than Parks and Fields could, if that makes sense, maybe you can. But I kinda wanted to bring it up as the transfer station was under your purview, and I figured it made sense to start here, right?
Have you talked to Highway?
They're always willing to do it if I pay that minimum, and that's kind of the crux of where we're at, right? Because employee would do it for
They
overtime.
make no money.
We'd make no money. I need basically this to be sort of like a streamlined enterprise where it's like, hey, I know 6 weeks from now, today, whatever, 9 a.m., I can go in there, and this is a quick endeavor. Right?
Highway's gonna want their person to drive their truck.
And I think they'd have to, yeah.
Oh, yeah, for life.
Yes, it's major.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know those last trucks.
I'm not sure how we would be able to intervene here, given that we don't have trucks that are
None. Yeah, we've never had any.
disposal.
Okay.
Yeah, the only thing that would work would be a surplus truck, but I don't know if there's any surplus trucks going on surplus.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the schedule of the highway department looks like, so that if like they have any downtime, if the TA or Jameson would allow them.
Yeah. And they're short-manned right now, too, I know.
They are.
Yeah.
They are.
And we are.
Yeah. Again, doesn't have to be an immediate solution. It's more like put it in, right? So if you guys, the conversation comes
Planning for
up
the future.
with them, yeah, I just, I get concerned because we'll do it for the time being, but eventually, I mean, everybody leaves boards, right, or whatever, and that's like that's definitely something that someone's not going to volunteer.
And it's a valid concern that it's going to end up being hauled by us
Right,
as
Right.
recyclables.
Which ultimately transfers to the taxpayers.
Right.
the increased cost.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you this, just throwing out ideas in the hopes that I can maybe help with an idea or two. Is there enough of a budget to pay forward for one of those trailers? I mean, I know we got one for our other house used, one of those trailers that you hitch onto somebody's truck that can be more easily utilized by a bunch of different members who.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing we have thought of, right? Which is kind of like we leave the trailer on that little, I call it a grassy knoll.
Yes.
The weeded area outside the bottle room, we just leave it there.
Is it a big trailer?
It would have to be a huge trailer. The GO trailer is big, and he's used as a pickup truck too. So we throw it in the back of the pickup truck plus the GO trailer. It still takes 2 or 3 trips, and that's a lot of cans.
How is it? Is it a dump and go? You go in and just dump it out?
Sort of. So it used to be they would glass is the biggest problem in that room. What am I calling them? Distributors. Well, there's a lot of problems. I've talked to Josh Cutler about this, and I know and he's going to maybe hear this. Great, he can. I've talked to our LA state reps about this. Is the fact that redemption centers are redemption centers because they take everything. The problem is that liquor stores do not take everything. 2 out of 3 places in town, we only have 3 in Hanson, don't accept recyclables back, but they charge you the 5 cents.
Right.
it's fine. It's great for us. People donate their cans to us anyway, so they're not getting them back. But the problem is, I can't even get like boxes or anything from them, right? The only way a distributor will take glass bottles back now is actually in a beer box. So a couple of buddies of mine, they work at liquor stores. They're, whatever spouses do, and they'll get me 20 boxes or 30 boxes at a time. And I'm like asking, thank you so much for these Budweiser boxes. Just so we can dump the glass in there. The glass has to be put in boxes, loaded up on a pallet when you get there. It used to be you just dumped it and they waited. Thankfully the bags can be mixed, right? So like no size differential, as long as it's just aluminum in a giant bag. You give them to them and they sort of give you a baseline. I'm sure they shortchange you a little bit,
But the
but
glass bottles even have to be in boxes?
glass bottles have to be in boxes. Every glass bottle. And there's like stipulations.
Can a chip
Corona
truck
has
be
to
used?
be separate than Bud, and Coca-Cola has to be separate than everything.
Can a chip truck be used? Like a landscape truck for chips?
Yeah, as long as it's empty and I can utilize the space inside. Yeah.
Maybe, so some of the businesses in town.
That's what I was thinking, maybe. get one-
Maybe someone has a chip truck
Or even to
and
rotate,
make one trip,
you know?
Yeah,
instead of making 3 or 4 trips, make one trip.
that was my hope. Yeah.
Maybe, so some of these landscapes and stuff.
Or have a trailer
Maybe.
that you can leave up there, and then what you rotate are the people who volunteer with their pickup trucks.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, one thing's around twice.
right. That way,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not.
Well, anyway, that's kind of why I wanted to bring it to your attention. That's all. So you have context of what's going on in that room too. It is being taken care of. It's I don't know, it's as neat as I've seen it in a long time.
It's very neat.
So
It's very, yeah.
people do comment on it when they come in. Thank you so much when they drop off their, 2 cans. Thank you.
Yep.
So we'll keep going for you guys. And if you find a solution, let me know. Right? We can certainly work towards that end.
Who knew that you have to do all that sorting?
I know, that's crazy.
They change it all the time. I know.
What if
It really is a business. I mean, it's
Yeah.
their
What if
businesses for a reason.
What if you talk to the town administrator and see if she could
Yeah, I have to go there next.
have
so,
them
Yeah.
have highway or some department that has trucks set aside an hour, every
Nothing,
few months,
I know.
every few months to assist.
Mhm.
She might say yes, they'll do it.
Yeah.
Because she has the authority to say,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Does Whitman do anything similar?
No.
I'm just curious if they do them, how they handle it,
Interesting. I mean, we're actually in some ways it's advantageous for us that they're so close.
Right.
And these redemption centers aren't like everywhere nowadays.
And you've kind of exhausted all the options of a pickup company.
Yeah,
There's no one else you haven't
I
tried
can go
talking
further
to.
back, but they've had pickup companies do this in the past.
Yeah.
It's just one place closed, took the cash. I mean, Arlene, you probably remember this.
I did.
Another
I remember
spin-off
that.
company of that. They took the cash. They had to send the cops.
Yes.
No, I'm just kind of curious because at the end of the day, you're spending money to get
Yes.
some back, but
Yeah.
you're going to take a little bit less if you have someone pick it up. But
Yeah.
it would be more streamlined. You wouldn't have to have a truck, have a trailer, fuel costs, labor.
And that's why I kind of want to start with you guys, only because it's on your site, and honestly, I think it saves a ton of hauling, right? So it's like if we can work together to solve just this one piece, we'd be good to go.
I don't understand why the stores that sell and take that are not required to redeem.
No. 2 out of 3 Hanson, and if you add a further one, like Tri-Town's technically in East Bridgewater, right across the line, they don't either, so technically 3 out of 4.
Yeah,
I don't understand how they can do that. They're taking in money that they're in, then they're not allowing people to get back.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm feeling a little helpless in part because I don't have
Yeah.
we don't have a vehicle
vehicle.
that I could even talk on.
Yeah.
And
No, that's okay. Honestly, it's just bring it to your attention, and if something pops up, let me know.
Something to think about.
yeah, for sure, because it's a great opportunity for.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good experience for the kids. Absolutely. It's even if at the end of the day, it's not a profit maker. It's a good experience for them. Good to be active and do that too. It's a good kind of lesson for them.
Do the kids get service hours?
If they do the sports, they can fill out the form through the high school and stuff like that. I mean, generally they don't, honestly. People will bring like a team, like a football team will come, it's your turn. Right? I usually bring like a baseball team, that kind of thing. So.
Okay.
And like you said, I mean, it is keeping it out of the trash too.
Yeah, that's
Out of
huge.
it is.
Yeah, it
I
is.
mean, you guys can probably do more financial reports on it. Like, what is 8,000 cans equal in terms of size and hauling costs and stuff like that? I mean,
Yeah, I mean that is something to weigh too. I mean, if we're looking at it as an expense and a cost, because I can't imagine that you could have a town vehicle operated by someone that's not on the clock. So it would be, at an expense, I'm sure, to the town to have someone do that if that was to happen,
What about renting like a U-Haul?
You know, it's funny, we explored that too. We
Hmm.
went to Country Rentals, both places, because they give us a lot of stuff for baseball,
Mhm.
for instance.
Yeah.
The
For the opening day and stuff.
But again, they need people to drive their stuff. Like, we could rent a trailer every time. Part of it is like, we want to simplify the process, right?
Right.
You know how it works. As soon as you leave a board, someone's trying to pick up the place. We've seen these new select board meetings. I mean, these people have just got elected. They don't even know what these positions are yet. That's what it is. It's like, let's just kind of, so people know what they're doing.
It's almost like you need a Parks and Rec trailer that unfortunately you put out money for up front, and then it'll take you a little while to catch up, obviously. On that
No, I was thinking if you rented, because they have different sizes, not necessarily Country Rentals, but they have a lot of different sizes of trucks that you can rent from like Home Depot or from U-Haul.
Right.
And if different departments
Okay.
picked up, maybe we're willing to share the cost of renting the truck if somebody else is doing the labor, that handles the transportation portion of it.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, though, I think they're kind of trying to go with more of a streamlined
I
approach.
know,
so
but
they're
if
not going
you
shagging a
can't
truck and,
streamline
Yeah, that's a
it,
lot of work.
that's
And
another
like,
option.
especially when there's different people
Right.
doing it all the
Yeah.
time now. Definitely an option, I agree.
It is, the whole room is just hard. It
I know,
seems
yeah.
like such a stupid thing. Like, we just need to go 3 miles.
I know,
Like, you know what I
seriously,
mean?
yeah.
I know. While I'm here, I have one more question for you guys, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I was asked by a certain individual in town about field rentals and the process. And let me explain to you guys what we do through Parks and Fields, because technically there's more of the health issues versus us. Parks and Fields, in the past, even before I was chair, what we always do is an organization wants to come in and rent the fields, which does happen more than people actually think. We have Legion Ball that rents out Robinson a lot. Obviously we have a couple different baseball camps in town that go into Boteri. Boteri's pretty nice fields at this point. We put a lot of work into them the last few years. Different baseball AU programs have started to rent them out, like Venom. You see that name across the backdrop there, South Shore Patriots. So we are getting, I mean, it's not a ton of money, but we're getting some money to come back into the coffers. What we've always done for every organization is give them a sheet. We copied basically what the high school does, right? Like their form. We put Parks and Fields on. Do you have insurance is essentially what we're asking you, right? Are you an organization? Do you have insurance? And there's a couple ancillary questions on there. Like if there's a medical issue, you got procedure, that kind of thing. I have always been assumed that we're covered at that juncture because the organization coming in to rent the fields has insurance. This individual was like, well, I have to jump through hoops to be a camp. And I'm like, well, that's kind of Ordinell's purview. It's not really mine. Like, I'm charging you $65, dude. Obviously, we're not paying for your insurance if you get hurt, right? Should be kind of common sense, but I figured I'd ask the question while I had the forum. That's all it is.
Gil, do you
They have to have insurance.
Correct.
And I think now they have to Corey and Sori now, I believe
Yeah.
so, right? So you have to make sure that's all done. And, you have to really vet these people up because, people are starting to look around for different places to go.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever farm you use, that's the farm you should, follow up on. And the medication and stuff like that, you get all that information also?
I honestly, I can't remember what's on the form. It's a template one that, they're all the same.
The big thing now is insurance and the Corey and the Sori,
Mhm.
the people that are, actually running these things.
Okay.
And, you should actually,
You know what I'm speaking of, probably, Gil, and
Yes.
I won't mention it.
So,
but I
yeah.
figured I'd ask.
yeah, I mean, yeah, but that's a big thing, if that's the farm and the Corey and Sori's on it, and you should.
But if it's a camp, it's totally different.
Yeah.
It
You have
is, yeah.
to run it,
Because it's considered a recreational camp for
But you have
children.
to have somebody
But,
regular for an event.
exactly. If we were to
I'll
host
have
it,
my
we'd have to
birthday
have,
party.
like for baseball or football, we have to be Corey before we even step on the field or coach as part of like our medallion situation, right? But then we're liable, right? In this case, it's a little bit different because it's kind of like you're a business, you should be doing all this.
Right.
You're just renting the fields for me. Like as long as you have this stuff in order through the state or through the Board of Health, like realistically speaking.
it depends what they're doing. You need
Yeah.
a nurse,
Yeah.
you need a
Depends on
nurse.
why they're renting
Yeah,
it,
right.
what the purpose is.
Maybe that's where I'm confused.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you should actually come
So
to
if
the
they're
office
renting,
sometime
I'm sorry.
and go over this.
Yeah.
Because it does get involved, especially, the age of the kids and all that and everything, so.
But would I be involved in any of that stuff? That's my question.
No,
They're
but
providing-
if somebody, if you're renting the fields for somebody to have a camp, and it's a recreational camp for children, and it's run during the summer,
Mhm.
they need to come through the Board of Health. That's a totally
Okay.
different
That's
form
fine.
of licensing
Yeah.
and permitting. They're required to have a permit that's then reported to the state at the end of the season. If they're renting the field to, just play baseball for one day is not a camp.
Okay,
5 days is a camp.
okay. Well, there's a few of those then.
They
Yeah,
need to
the
come to us.
regulations are being changed in the next couple of months, the updating the
Okay.
regulations on that. Should be out by the end of July, apparently, so.
So I would have them fill out the same standard form I receive, and then I'd loop you in with them,
They
or
need
I
to
would
come-
say you need
they
to
need-
contact them.
Yeah.
They need
Okay.
to come to the Board of Health.
That's fine. That's easy for me.
Yeah.
Contact.
Then you stay out of it, and
Yeah. Okay.
Can I just go back to the can topic?
Yeah.
Can we use RDP funds for trailers?
I was gonna suggest, go to Country House and talk to Steve. I mean, he donates so much stuff. I mean, look at all the equipment he donates, and, he'll probably let you use the trailer.
Oh, he would.
No,
Is
it's
it?
just like for the town.
I hate asking them 6 times a year, and I just don't want to.
no, wait, go ahead, finish your
And
thought.
I want to make the solution very simple. If there's a takeover situation where somebody else has to do it, it's like
Yeah.
where somebody doesn't know Steve, or what if Steve retires?
No, that's not gonna happen, but.
Yeah. It's sort of like, can we come up with a solution
if
that's
it-
just everything always going to be the same? That's all.
So using the RDP funds, the town meeting voted for Parks and Fields to get the cans. And it is recycling, so it may fall under that we could use RDP funds for a trailer.
Yeah.
Because it's on town property and it's from residents, and town meeting voted for that group,
But
that
it
board.
benefits one organization, it doesn't benefit.
It doesn't benefit one organization, it benefits it's one committee that covers several organizations. So, like soccer, baseball, softball, I don't know who else benefits from the money.
But we're also saying the flip side, that those cans, if this can't stay in existence,
We'll
come
go
back to us.
into the, right.
So it's a way to support both Parks and Rec and the transfer station and our bottom line.
Definitely
at the
worth
transfer station.
asking the question, because we do have the money.
You can ask, I don't think the DEP would see it that way, but you can ask.
Well,
So it's a
assuming
funded
that-
directive of Parks and Recreation, right?
yes,
With
town
the
meeting
warrant,
voted
town-
that several years ago, that all
Yeah.
the money from the cans goes to
A
Parks and
long
Fields.
time ago.
Yeah.
Did that.
Yeah.
Like 80s.
Yeah, Parks and Fields, so,
So my question was, can we use grant monies that are under our purview to purchase a trailer that would then be technically the transfer station's trailer for the use of
Yeah.
Parks and Rec to take Parks and Fields? Is it Parks and Fields? I'm thinking of the
Actually,
show.
they're creating a recreation department, supposedly.
So-
Really just use for the Board of Health and the transfer station
Yeah.
at their,
We
Our
don't have a
discretion.
truck to put it to.
but we could then
I think we should look.
allow
into it.
use. It's worth asking the
Yeah.
question
Yeah,
anyway.
the worst thing to say is no.
Yeah, best case scenario, I mean, everyone has a truck, right? You'll find somebody with a truck at every sport, so that's not.
Right, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, pickup trucks are in abundance.
We're Hanson.
Yeah. South Shore has a lot of them. All right, so let's we'll look into that as an option. I mean,
Yep.
it's good to have all options on the table. Sounds like, and Gil, can you
I'm gonna,
look into that?
yeah, I'm
Awesome.
gonna look at that.
And then we'll let you know.
Great, I appreciate your time, guys.
All right,
Thank you so
Adam.
much.
Thanks so much.
Good to
All right,
see
take
you.
care.
You as well. Bye, guys.
Next up is to appoint Gil Amato as the milk inspector. Is there any discussion on this?
I'm sure this is probably an annual, or how many,
Really?
every couple of years,
Well, I
how
don't think
often do you have to do this?
it's supposed to be every year, but I don't think we've done it.
Nope,
We've never done it?
No, we've never done it that I know.
no,
No.
Donna used to be appointed every, year, or every 2 years,
Every year,
whatever.
make a motion.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll make a motion to appoint Mr. Gilbert Amato to, the milk inspector.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Do you know what the duties of the milk inspector are?
I'm sure, downstairs should be able to tell you.
Pasteurization and all that. It's an old type thing. But there is still inspections on it. Anybody that sells fresh milk can't sell fresh milk unless it's pasteurized.
Right.
And the fat content and all that stuff. Okay.
Waste zero bag increase.
Okay, so
Teresa has some
I have,
documents for us.
this is the extension that you guys signed not that long ago.
Right.
This is the original agreement. Not a lot of information about, what manufacturing versus, the bag cost itself.
That was one thing I had asked for.
But it does have, the breakout. There are 40 rolls per case. 40 rolls per case. And then I asked the woman at Waste Zero if you raised the cost of the bag to $11.50, $12 or $12.50. So you guys can look at that. Because they're at $11 now. Does that make sense? So stores purchase the
I was
cases.
gonna say, this is for Shaw's, for example.
Yep.
To
So Shaw's
participate.
purchases, 3 cases, and then they sell each roll for that price. So it would right now it's $11. It's $11 a roll, depending on if it's small rolls or large rolls. The small rolls have 8 bags. The large rolls have 5 bags per roll, but the cost is the
The
same.
same.
Is it the same cubic volume?
No, one is 15 pounds, one is 25 pounds.
I'm saying.
But no, it goes by pounds.
No, I'm saying if you do the
Pounds
math
on the
on the
bag.
It
bag.
should be gallons.
And the bags are inconsistent in size. I have a small bag today that was the size of a large bag, and the smaller bags seem like they've gotten smaller. A 13-gallon bag of trash barely fits in there now. Before I
If
used to
you
be able to
look
do more.
through the original contract, it has all the specifications for the bag.
Right.
And
Right.
it should not have changed since
So this would be the
2014
new-
when it was originally set up.
What is it? Does it have the?
It's the full contract, not the extension.
There are-
It's in there.
There are lots of complaints about the bags, so that's a different topic for
Right.
a different day.
Mhm.
And I have
But you do get 8 as opposed to the 5.
5, right?
And so people can choose.
Uh-huh.
And the colors are all over the place.
I
We
know.
have no control over the colors because we had looked into that before.
so they're not always red.
Oh, they're a range of colors. I brought her in someone that had 5 different colors. And they said they had no control over that. Because of
So-
supply issues.
Bag size large is 32 by 34, 24 by 20. And does it?
It's
Oh,
not
that's
on
just
the
the
extension.
extension.
So
Okay.
the
It's
8
not
bags
in
are $12 a roll. It's about $1.50 a bag.
It's $1 a bag right now.
No.
At 10, $1.25.
You're getting 8 bags for 11. So, do the math. I just messed
Yeah.
This is a problem.
So 11 divided by 8
Oh.
is $1.
37.
1.375.
And then the 5 of the large
It's
for 11, right?
$2.20. So if you went up to 11.50 divided by 8 would be 1.44. Divided by 5 would be 2.30. So it's really like only 10 cents, right? 12
$1.50.
12 divided by 8 is $1.50 or 2.40. $12.50 divided by 8 is $1.56. $12.50 divided by 5 is $2.50 a bag.
So are you
That's
trying to figure out the
100%
difference
markup.
between 11.50 and 12? Is that where you're?
No, I'm just going through all the different prices
Oh,
that I got
that's right.
prices from her from Wendy Morgan, who works at Waste Zero.
Okay. And so their cost is gonna go up, right? What it's costing them, what it's us to buy them, essentially is what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. So, yes.
Presumably everything has gone up.
Yeah.
You know, just across
Yeah,
the
'cause
line.
I think the last time we had an increase was because their price had gone up, right? When we went to 11?
Yeah, I think the price did go up on the bags, that's why.
Yeah,
Yeah, we had a price increase, but then you guys raised the price to 11. That was probably, it'll be 2 years in July.
Right.
But that's the only increase we've had since 2014.
And what was the 12?
That's 250.
So if it's $12.
Oh, no, wait, I'm sorry. Oh, no.
$1.50
Yeah,
for the large bags, right? Because there's 8 in a roll. $12.50 each,
12
and we're
divided
at
by 5 is 240.
$1.25 right now, right?
37.
Oh, $11 a roll, right? Yeah.
What do we think? I mean, personally, I think $2.50 a bag is way too much money.
That's a lot of money.
It's 100% plus over 100% markup.
Right.
From us.
So are you looking at $12, it was $1.50, right?
$1.50 a bag for the large bags.
And
No.
that covers what's there.
No, 12 divided by 5 is 240.
It is $2.40, that's what I came up
12
with.
divided by 8 is 150.
Oh, that's
So 150 and 240. It's 10 cents difference from,
8 small bags and 5 large bags?
yeah.
Okay. I thought there was 8 large and not
No.
And that's if we go to 12, and that would cover the increase?
No, probably not. But it's still moving in the right direction.
Because we're breaking even now with the bags, aren't we?
No, because they just went up on the prices.
No, but I mean before that, before the increase. It wasn't, the
No,
bags were paying for themselves in terms of the stores were selling them and what people was paying
I don't
covered the
think
cost.
so. I don't think so, but
No?
I can't really say. I don't think so, though. No, I mean, hold on, let me. I gotta give all this stuff to you guys. Let me see, hold on. So no, I mean, this bill is $3,000, $3,200. So, and again, you never know how many people are gonna order. So it's always a different bill. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? Because you don't know, is Shaw's gonna order 10 cases or 2? I don't know.
Yeah, it's almost impossible. This is one of the
Right,
things
so
as
this
I was
is,
going over the numbers. It's almost impossible to match those two things up because we.
Right, so it's, this is 23 large cases and 12 small cases. And it's $3,229. So, yeah, I don't know, I think in each case is 90, so large case is $90.68. And a case of small, which is 24 by 28, is $95.32.
I thought that was the new prices.
That's off the new invoice. Yep.
Right,
Yeah, the
right,
new
right.
prices.
Okay, that's the new prices.
Mm-hmm.
So is there a way for us to know if we're covering the cost?
Yep.
Is
Right.
my question. You should really be basing this increase on what we need to cover costs so that this doesn't come out of the Board of Health budget.
Mhm.
So, and I
No, but
thought in the past we figured that out.
No, because you never know how many people, how much somebody's going to order. That fluctuates all the
Okay.
time.
So I guess my question is, the order comes from the stores.
Yeah.
They get it from the company.
The stores order directly through Waste Zero,
Okay,
and Waste Zero ships directly to the stores.
okay,
They have they build to a certain number to make sure that they have them stocked for when a store orders them.
right.
But you never know who's going to order, how many they're going to order, if they're ordering all at once. You don't know.
All right, but this cost is not something that we're paying out. It's the stores that are paying that out when they order it.
But we're, so
I'm missing.
they charge us for the bags, and then we get money deposited into our account for, like, say Shaw's orders 10 cases.
Okay, yep.
Then we get paid for that.
Okay, and so we don't have a separate account so that we know what's coming in and what's going out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, we know because they deposit the money directly into an account, and that's on the monthly reports from Waste Zero.
Okay,
hmm
so at some point.
It should probably be a simple calculation of percentage increase.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not a mathematician here, but like whatever we're charging per bag now should be the percentage increase should be what
Consistent.
consistent with what it takes to cover
The cost.
the cost.
Right.
So we should increase the retail. I guess it's called the retail cost based on what our increase was.
Okay.
I think we tried this before, and it's
We
kind of
talked about
difficult.
this at
We've
a
done
meeting
this,
a couple months ago.
and
No, because I remember the numbers.
I can
Not too
look
long
back.
ago we talked about it.
I can
Maybe
look
right
back
after
at,
the beginning of the contract.
Where's my mind?
Hold on.
Because I remember these numbers.
I'm just going to randomly pick
And it had to do
and look back at a different invoice.
We did this last meeting.
It's just, there's gotta be a way to make sure
I think the last time we did it, it was a percentage. We had to come.
No, it wasn't.
No, when we figured it out, it was a couple of dollars.
It wasn't a percentage.
It was a couple, we figured it out, and it was a couple of dollars each. Each one had gone up. It wasn't significant, it wasn't more than
Unless I pick one that doesn't have a.
I know we figured it out.
Let me see. March. There's only zero invoice on this. Hold on.
Are you gonna pass us those things to sign while you're looking?
Yeah, hold on 1 second. There you go. So, Waste Zero invoice from from February was $88.04 for the large bags per case, which is a 32 by 34 bag.
Okay.
Compared to
And the small bags were $92.54. And that's for a 24 by 28 bag.
okay. So, Kevin, do you have your calculator already?
You got.
All right.
Hmm.
So
Oh, what up, bud?
this is where we were. This is where we're at. Can you calculate that percentage?
90.68 minus 88.04. So it's 264 increase.
Right.
Right. That one or that one?
Yeah, one's like a dollar.
So I just want to know what the percentage increase is. So what is $2.64? Is a what percentage increase? It's small.
30%, I think. Of that.
So
I
3%.
think if I did that right, but I'm pretty sure I did. I went to Votex, so take it easy on me.
I was a psych major, so I was way off. No math there.
Oh, yeah.
So in my mind, again, and if we need to, we can run this by Eric, I guess. It seems as though the percentage increase should be equivalent to the increase we're paying.
Yep.
Okay,
Did you say 30% increase?
3.
so that was
3%.
3%, and this is for the small bags. I'm assuming it's the same, but let's confirm it.
54. Is it a 5? 92.54?
92.54.
So does that mean you're going to increase bag prices every year? Because the price goes up every year.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah, it's to be determined, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
3%.
I don't know that this is 3% also. Okay, so our cost, according to this new contract, is a 3% increase.
Okay, yeah,
I don't want to get into, I personally don't want to get
Annual.
into next year or the year after that because we're looking at the transfer station in general.
I'm just making you aware that every
Yeah.
year it's gonna go up.
We
We
may-
know
we
what
may
the
have
price
to.
will be.
We don't know what the price will be.
No.
We also don't know, will we want to look at a different company because people are complaining about quality. So
Mm.
I think we should just focus on right now,
Mhm.
this contract, and
Yeah, just stay consistent with the increase and just match it.
yeah, I would just match the increase.
3%.
I agree.
So,
And so what will it be? Yeah,
yeah, I need, what is that gonna be?
that's what she wants to know. The bottom line.
Those numbers came out to 3% each.
Right. So
There's a
our
3%
increase is,
increase to get to that, 3% increase to get to that.
so the 3% increase would then transfer to retail. Which, do we have those numbers?
What did you want?
What are residents paying?
11.
$11 right now.
11, so 3% of 11.
I'm on it. That's 1.03. 1133.
Right, but that's a weird number.
So we'll go with 1150.
I would say 1150.
1150?
1150.
I'm just throwing it out there. Just round number.
Effective?
Well, when is our contract effective?
February.
Oh, I would say immediately. Would not.
You can't do it that
July
way.
1st.
We
They
can't.
need 45 days. On the email.
I didn't read that. Sorry, I was looking at the price.
That's all right.
Please keep in mind that price changes on the retail side require a minimum of 45 days to ensure the corporate store processes and procedures are followed. So, what is 45 days from today?
Tomorrow,
From tomorrow.
because I'll email her tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow's the 7th?
Yes.
How many weeks is that? 45 days. 30.
Monday the 24th. That'll be the next business day of July.
Of July.
July 24th, Monday. Yeah, it would actually, I think, be a Saturday, but
3.
Can we do August 1st, just for
it's from tomorrow.
ease
It's
of,
7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 43, 44, 45. It would be the 22nd. That would be the 45th day.
you want to do the 22nd? July 22nd?
That would
No.
technically be the 45th day, would be Saturday, July 22nd, but if you want to go with a Monday,
Did you say Saturday? Yeah, do the, whatever the Monday
it
is.
would be
The 24th. July 24th is 45 days.
3.
It's going to include the weekends too, right?
I did.
Yeah.
It doesn't say business days, so
No.
No.
does anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to make the bag price increase effective on Monday, July 24th, 2023.
I'll second. All in favor? Aye. All right. Thank you. That was a meeting of the
The
mathematicians here.
mathematicians, yeah.
Scary part is we're looking at me for help.
You're always the one with the calculator. That's why I was looking at Kevin. All right. Next up is transfer station staffing.
Okay. Over the last several weeks, we've had problems staffing the transfer station. We've had a couple of medical issues with employees, and it's brought to light that we actually do need a more consistent part-time employee. We've had staffing with the highway department, which is been very good to us because they're short people, and it doesn't look like it's going to get any better for them. We do have a couple more days that we might need somebody at the transfer station. Hopefully we'll be all right as of Monday. But I think we have to settle down and actually get a person part-time that's going to be able to work when we need them to work. Currently our part-time person has a hard time working when we need him to work. And he's only available when he's available at his time. So it's time for us to, advertise, get a part-time person and put that person on. The existing part-time person will take a back seat. He realizes, what's happening, so I've talked to him. But there's no question about it. We have the other full-time person has got clearance to be back Monday, but he'll be kind of a light duty. The doctor has given him clearance now, so.
Okay.
I
Do
think
we
it's-
have that part-time position still in our budget as a part-time position?
Yes.
By the end of the year, okay.
When you did the budget last year, you added the part-time
The
person.
part-time, it's always been in the budget, yeah. We will review it again. But with the existing part-time person, that pay that's not, he will not be coming in as much as he was because we're not sure when he can.
Right, no, I totally get that.
Yeah, so, but that money is in that position too, so. But, I think, try a while back, try to do this before because it's kind of crazy. Highway fills in because they're in the same union and they're, Jameson was very good to us as far as, supplying the people. And kudos to them guys because, they shot a couple of guys too. So, I think it gets advertised through the town administrator's office, doesn't it? I think
Oh, yeah.
It goes out through them.
Oh, yeah.
Like that.
Budget? I just think that we had somehow cut the part-time. I don't know why.
I'll check the
Because
budget.
we didn't have somebody that was part-time.
I
But-
vaguely remember we kept it, but.
Yeah, I don't
remember
know.
we kept it.
We kept it.
Uh,
Probably, I'm pretty
At,
sure we
at
kept
the
it.
increased rate?
Well, whatever rate's in there, I believe we kept it.
So-
Because we also had we had the part-time person, existing part-time person, and then we had another part-time person. That other part-time person was never taken out of the budget. We'll check again tomorrow to be sure. But the person's part-time now, the existing person, who's when we work and we can get paid.
When I did the budget, I budgeted for, this is before you were here, I budgeted for the full-time people and one part-time person. I had it to the penny. And then in July, you would do an increase of 2%, and then whomever was getting, a step increase, you'd increase by that. So, I don't know.
And we'll check it, but this is something we definitely have to do. I mean, we have to, we need someone there that's more consistent as far as a part-time person.
Oh, that idea, I just want to make sure that we budget.
Yeah.
So,
That's my concern.
Gil, can you check the budget and then let all of us know we'll have to revisit it next meeting.
And plus the person that we, to get another part-time
Well-
person, it'd be paid out of that existing part-time budget. Because the other person won't be drawing that payroll.
This is
It's confusing because he's
No.
saying two part-time, but the person would actually be per diem,
per diem.
not
Yeah.
part-time. So it's not
Yeah, that's
two
the way it still
part-time
works.
positions. So it would be a part-time person that would be filled by the regular person or if necessary,
Or-
the per diem, which he can't do a lot. That's the confusing conversation.
Yeah, but because it's
So I'm
listed as
thinking per
part-time.
diem in my head, that
It-
this
it's
is
right.
really a per diem position.
But
Well,
it's
one-
part-time,
well,
it's
no.
part-time.
It's not, it's actually per diem.
I'm talking as far as the budget, it's called part-time. We'll pull it again, so.
The question for me is, the person, Brian, when he was in that position, part-time, I think he did 20 hours a week, right?
I'm not sure, I think it was,
15
No,
or
it's
20,
not
because I know he did Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
I'll have to check and make sure.
Because he used to cover lunch on
You ought to know.
Fridays,
Yeah,
and then Saturday, Sunday.
I bought it.
I'll recheck it again just to make sure, but it's something we definitely have to do one way or another.
So I guess what I want to clarify, are you talking about a position every week, part-time there? Or are you talking about someone that we call in?
As needed.
Yeah, if someone call in.
So
We're gonna call in?
we're talking
Yes.
about a per diem person to come in when we need, when
Yeah,
when
we're
John
gonna call
calls are
for
out.
him, yes.
Okay.
Oh, just, it's a language I think that insinuates or connotates that
Okay.
Per day.
you're coming as
Yeah.
needed. Okay,
And that's the per diem, the part-time, Part-time was a set amount of hours that a person worked.
Okay,
So we're talking about per diem, which is different. I don't have a problem with that, as long as the money's in the budget.
right, I think I would have a problem with a part-time person in addition to the two folks working. I don't think
Yeah.
that's necessary, but.
Yeah.
So let's confirm the budget first,
Yep.
step one.
I wouldn't mind voting on it, with just, saying as long as we have the money in the budget. 'Cause I wouldn't wanna wait another month.
Yeah, I think.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Kevin?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Good.
Anyone wanna?
Do you want, I can make a motion
Alright.
that, we advertise for a per diem person for the transfer station. To hire.
I'll second that.
Once we confirm the budget.
Once the budget has been confirmed that we have the money to cover it. And we second it.
I'll second that, yep.
All in favor? Aye. All right,
There's a plan, Jason.
and septics, we have 223 East Washington.
Nobody here.
No one's here to look at it.
No one's here to explain.
Pass it down.
So one of the things that I asked Gil to do on the septic is to.
Gil, good job with your logs. Looks good.
Oh, is it my turn?
Couple pages of that. Gil's reports.
I know.
Good job, Gil.
I haven't seen it.
The penmanship is so nice and neat.
Look at that.
Pass them down. You ready?
Almost.
All right.
Gil.
Yep.
Okay, so 223 East Washington Street. Plan is presented by Shane McGlone, McGlone Enterprise. He's looking for a local upgrade variance request, reduction in separation between the bottom of SAS and the maximum seasonal high groundwater table, 4 feet to 3 feet, which is a standard variance there, and a variance to allow use of a sieve analysis in place of a perk due to high groundwater, which is a standard variance there. It's a good, clean plan. It meets all regulations of Title V. And, hello?
There we go.
Sorry. It's been reviewed. We had review engineers review it, and I've looked it over, and I see no problem with the plan at all. So.
Yeah, I had already looked it over. I don't have any questions.
Like I said, it's standard variances.
I believe the one review comment on it was just adding the buoyancy calculations to the tank, and that was
It's right
done.
here.
Yep.
Yep.
That's been done and everything, so.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like, I don't even know. Sometimes they're over here, sometimes they're over here. Okay, I'll make a motion that we accept the plan for 223 East Washington Street.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right.
So she signs that.
623. All right. And then we have 25 Live Oak Way.
Thank you. Thank you.
25 Live Oak Way, and something that has standard variance, local upgrade, variance allow use of sieve analysis in place of first rescue with high groundwater. It's a very good system, good design, it's a perfect system, and like I say, it's standard, in the existing dwellings and whatnot, there's standard variances, and this is just the use of the sieve analysis, and the practice through the high groundwater. This is another long plan, very clean plan, very detailed, and I see no issues with this plan whatsoever.
I had already reviewed these. They're good.
Arlene?
I don't have any question, no.
Okay.
a motion that we accept the plan for, I know it's
25 Live Oakwood.
25 Live Oak Way.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh. This had a paper clip on it. Oh, I'm giving the paper clip back, but she'll be after.
All right, so next, old unfinished
Thank you.
business, the public health nurse.
Something else.
Thank you.
Arlene, you are gonna give us a rundown and contact the Whitman.
That was about, Maven. My question was, we had a job description here.
Here.
Okay. That's the nurse?
Right,
Okay.
but I thought last meeting we discussed.
I know.
It was 2 meetings ago.
2 meetings back.
Oh,
That's
okay.
why.
Sorry, it wasn't last meeting.
About,
We were gonna talk with, the Whitman public health nurse
Yes.
about how he or she saw their role in Whitman and potentially a co-role
yeah, there
here.
are two. I know there are two in
Two of
Whitman.
them,
There were
right.
two. There were two.
So,
None on my list.
That's another thing to look at too, Kat.
Job descriptions. We had
we were gonna do both.
Sorry.
both.
We were gonna do both. We were
Okay.
gonna hear from you about your conversation with Whitman,
Yep.
and we were gonna look at the job description, because I think some of my concern is, I don't think we need everything on here.
No, but usually you leave it broad
Leave it broad.
so that if the need becomes, if you have a need for that, that person then covers that. And I would think that in most cases, I haven't looked at that in a while. So the person doesn't necessarily just have a singular role.
Right.
You're doing this, you're doing this, if this becomes necessary, you're doing this. But it's been a while since I've looked at that. Did you want to still go through that and see what's in there? So you have a cross out there. Is that?
No, I
No?
was more checking things that I thought we could more utilize now. Not that, I'm not suggesting we
Big change?
minimize the job description. What I do think we need to discuss is, if we are going to consider using, say, the Whitman public health nurse, if
Mhm.
that's even possible, we
Right.
need to have a clear sense as a board about what we would want to focus on,
Okay.
so that there'll be limited hours. I think we
Yes,
discussed that.
we had discussed that.
What do we want focused on? And I thought that was where we would then come back together and talk. So, any thoughts or discussion? Do we want to wait to hear from Whitman?
I guess we could wait. We've
Kick
waited this
down
long.
Down the road another 3 weeks?
Yeah.
All right,
And I will get them a
table this until our next meeting.
And I will put it in my calendar.
Oh, great. Let's put that there for now. Let me just write this on my next meeting. All right, so let's move on to, there's no septic plan submitted for approval after agenda posting, ongoing project updates. I'm happy to talk a little bit about the transfer station from the committee aspect, and then there's, I think, we can talk about this under chairman's update, or just segue into it, but some discussion around the compactors and the boxes going out well before they're full, which is a big cost to us, to the town. So I was talking a bit with Gil and with Chris today about my suggestions on that. Clearly need to be aired here as a board. To
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about. So
So I didn't realize that they're going out before they're full.
So, well, are you good with starting with that?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
all right with that, yeah, please.
So one of the things that came up over the weekend when I was up at the transfer station, Gil was there as well, was what seems to be happening fairly often is that boxes are being picked up by Harvey and they are like not even half full, which means that we're paying.
It was never the way it was done in the past.
So
It's weird.
right, which is it that really, in my opinion, has to stop.
It's a waste.
Yeah, we're paying the hauling, we're paying.
And that's twice as much.
Yeah. So, one of the things that I had suggested to Chris, and I think Gil, you're as the head honcho up there, are probably going to need to take this back there and set up a plan with them. But one of the things I suggested was, why are we not having one lane operational? And when that's 3/4 of the way full, he calls for a pickup, which now Harvey wants 48 hours instead of 24 hours. Chris is not happy about that, but it is what it is. We can talk with Jerry, but it seems to be their new way of doing things as they pick up more business. When it's 3/4 of the way full, transfer station attendants call for a pickup, and then the other lane is opened, and then it becomes a rotation
Mm-hmm.
of
Right.
And I think part of the concern is that there'll be backup in one lane. I have to say, I haven't seen much backup up there on a Saturday morning, and I mean, I'm there for
And
a couple
usually
of
the middle
hours.
lane's not open.
Right. So I haven't seen backup, and I go during times of day that would presumably be pretty busy, and one lane is almost always blocked off. So, first and foremost is cost savings to the town and to taxpayers, and we can't be sending out half empty.
Not even half. I mean, there's one in the bills that it's 2 point something
I
tons,
thought
and
that they
it should be 11 to 13 tons.
that they waited until it was 3/4 filled, or they had, and I was gonna ask, I don't know how they know when it's filled, other than the compactor doesn't compress it. But I always thought they were waiting for it to be full when they called for it to be picked up.
No, I'm just learning of this.
No, excuse me.
Please go ahead, Joe.
He anticipates when it's gonna be full. They can tell by the pressure, the piston pressure going
Right.
against the trash. They tell that. I think today was kind of a perfect example of it. He was anticipating something that he must have his thoughts were off or something.
Maybe the gauge.
But today,
Huh?
Maybe the gauge needs to be fixed.
No,
it's not the gauge.
Well, no, I mean, I read this again myself. He called for the boxes. They said 48 hours, but then because I get the text he sends out. I get all the texts, but then the boxes would decide, hey, well, let's not empty them now. Let's wait till Saturday. So, and that's the way I anticipate the text. I know you read it. You heard some of this too, but I think I'm going to go talk to him tomorrow, definitely, because the way I read the text, the boxes weren't full enough to go out with the next day. So
Correct.
that's the way I read it. That's what he said. And Brad answered him, they'll get them Saturday. So the 48 hours, there's a little bit of confusion there.
There needs to be an objective way
Yeah.
to determine when the box is ready to be called in to be picked up.
Right.
And that should be like 3/4 of the way, whether that's by reading a pressure gauge but it has to be objective. It can't be someone's feeling.
Because see the way the box fills up,
Seriously, no, I agree.
the pusher goes in and pushes against the trash, okay? And it keeps pushing and pushing, and when it gets to the end, the trash starts curling and coming back.
Sure.
So sometimes, a piece of wood, something can, give him a false reading. Right? I've told him this before. Keep compacting. And we'll go over this again because, yes, today was kind of me reading the text because the text was kind of confusing what he did. And in the end, he says, okay, Saturday. So we'll just clarify that.
So you got the message when I called, because I had gone up there and he said, we're gonna have to close because the boxes are gonna be full. And so I called and talked to Teresa and said, talk to Gil about that because I understand it's 48 hours, but you can't not say to people that you can't drop off your cardboard or you can't drop off your recycling. And then when I went back up, he said, oh yeah, it was okay.
I would like
We will.
for you to discuss with him if he has concerns about having to close the transfer station because this type of language is used to residents. It really needs to be contained and directed to you so that you can assess, is that accurate? Is that not accurate? Do we need to take action in some other way? But I guess I'm concerned that this sort of regular hyperbole around the transfer station needing to close because we don't have any room for trash never comes to fruition.
This, like I said, this was going to piece of me because you got calling saying that he's going to close, it's full and everything, and I'm reading the text between him and Harvey.
Right. That was just a conversation.
We'll discuss this, what goes
I
tomorrow.
ran up there and it was just about 11 o'clock and he said, I think they're going to be filled and the company changed the policy. They want 48 hours. I said, I'm on my way to a meeting. There's nothing I can
This
tell
will be
you.
part of, John's coming back, excuse me.
Monday.
The full-time attendant's coming back Monday. I think we're going to have, no discussion about this because this has been discussed before.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that sounds like just more of a organizational thing, just to make sure and being on top of.
And it's accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's accurate.
Yeah, I think this is
Just kind of proper planning that, okay, that we can use this one on Saturday and then Monday we'll fill this one until it's going to go out. That, like you said, we're paying the hauling. You don't really want to be sending stuff out that's not up to weight.
yeah.
I always thought that they were filling them and then calling for them.
He's thinking he's filling
Okay.
the pressure gauge.
So that's what I'm saying when I really think we need an objective way
Yeah.
to determine when they're 3/4 of the way full and then he calls. I don't know. I'm picking an arbitrary number. I guess 3/4.
Yeah, some sort of a system. Yeah.
The other thing that he mentioned in my phone call with him this afternoon was that the cardboard, the sensor doesn't work at all. And so it's a guess of when the cardboard's full. So I said, so the first solution or first step in a solution there is to get that fixed. And he said he's called and they don't respond. So, Gil, may I turf that to you for?
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem because the last time it happened, I called, his name slips my mind there, and the repairman was there within an hour and a half. So I don't know, there's issues that we'll correct. But,
And maybe we should.
there's a simple way of doing this. It just takes a rubber mallet, bang on the side of the container. It tells you whether it's full or empty. So we'll discuss that again.
Okay, this could be a staff meeting.
Yes.
There could be a longer staff meeting.
Are you gonna contact the company, the cardboard machine company, to fix the?
Yeah, I will check. I will check it
We
first.
should be calling when it's down, or should he be notifying Gil and Gil calls? That's the piece I don't understand. He's waiting to tell you, or he's telling you the sensor doesn't work. He didn't tell me that, and I was there twice today. He said nothing about the sensor.
Well, what I would like to encourage is that you or I aren't the first go-to, unless Gil.
No.
I actually think Gil, as the department head, needs to be the one who's contacted, so that Gil is given the opportunity to address the situation. It might not even need to make it to the board.
My
It's certainly available, but
should Chris call for the repair or call Gil, so Gil calls for the repair?
I think the phone
That's
call
my
should be
question.
for the repair and a phone call to Gil saying, I called for
Yes.
a repair, this
Right.
is going on.
Right, so it doesn't
It
sound
shouldn't
like
need to
that
be
happened.
micromanaged.
No, but it doesn't sound like that happened. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Why wouldn't he have called to get it repaired and then said to you, I called them because it's not working? That's the piece that I did not hear happen.
So maybe we should just make sure they have the right contact numbers, the
He
same
does.
numbers you
He
have.
does because when it failed the last time, I called that contact person. The guy was out there with an hour and a half. Sometimes it's so those issues will be discussed in our next trip to the transfer station.
and when we have our weekly touch
I'm there.
base, you'll let me know.
Yeah, I'm there all
Yeah,
the time.
Okay. All right. And just lastly, or two quick things on the transfer station. So the swap shop has a new sign. We have 2 points. The first and only volunteer came this past weekend, and we did some cleanup. We made the sign. I reposted the sign-up sheet to see if we could get volunteers. There was a lot of complaint about the swap shop, but nobody volunteering for it.
I didn't see it, so
Yeah.
where did you put it?
The sign-up genius, Hanson Connection and Hanson Network.
Okay.
So the complaints were abundant. So what I've decided to do is not utilize Facebook. We'll use the Board of Health Facebook page, or we'll use the Board of Health email blast with the sign up genius, and hopefully people will volunteer. But I'm not going to have it become a public forum.
Well, you can also
So, like,
post and not allow comments.
That may be the other thing. It's just
But I didn't see it. I didn't get a notification on it, but so I just didn't realize that you had reposted again. That's all.
So there is that, and then we had our meeting of the transfer station committee on Friday, and Claire and Todd came. They didn't come. They were zoomed in, and they provided a question and answer / presentation around the trash situation, really on the South Shore, which was very, very helpful. And I encourage everyone that works in this department to check it out, because I think I certainly got some information that I wasn't expecting around cost to transition to curbside, and just how well run our transfer station is, and our tonnage compared to other towns that use curbside is like dramatically lower.
Oh, really?
Because of the recycling element.
We actually got an award for that.
We did.
Yep.
Yeah, and there was some confirmation that our sticker fees have, since 2019, when they were even instituted, have just been well below all the surrounding towns. And there's some work to be done there over the next
Educating.
year, in terms of providing some education around cost. The couple of things are happening. One is we got a compilation of all of the towns on the South Shore and how they operate regarding trash, and we have all their numbers, which is incredibly helpful to see. And then Todd is going to take a look at our financials and make some recommendations around our fees, our sticker fees, what makes sense in comparison to similarly
Size.
I can't speak. Size towns.
Sound like me.
Been a long day.
Two S's together that they never were.
So, overall, great meeting, and that one should be posted up on YouTube under its own separate heading, the Hanson
Transfer station.
Committee?
Yeah.
And could we also blast that out? I don't know if it's worth sending the link to the first one, and then
Yeah, I'll look at it. The second one hasn't been posted yet, so.
and then just let people know that to follow that particular heading for the Hanson Transfer
Mhm.
Station Committee, and they'll be able to see
the
all
others.
of the subsequent meetings.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
as a measure of transparency,
I'll see if I can add a link, because I have the link on our homepage for the meetings. I'll see if I can add one for the transfer station
Okay.
committee.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and those minutes will be coming shortly from Joe Weeks, who is our clerk. But honestly, the video is really what folks want to watch for good data. Okay, that's all I have.
That's it.
Do you have any emergency planning updates?
I am going to a meeting on Thursday for the coalition, a regular monthly meeting. I'm trying to think what else is going on. terms of emergency planning, I am going to, on Wednesday, Department of Public Health volunteer training. And it's sort of all over the place. It has, one of the things I was interested in doing is FEMA has an assistance program, which I had never heard of before, individual assistance. So in an emergency, people could apply to this for help funding. I'd never heard of this before, so that's one of the classes I'm going to go to.
Great.
I am working or planning on working with Robbie on getting more volunteers through the MRC. At some point, you know, during the pandemic, people were volunteering, but we didn't have any way of really vetting people.
Mhm.
But if we chose to use the MRC, they do all the vetting, they do all the queries. So if in fact he wanted to create a pool of volunteers, we would have them. We sort of had them a long time ago, and then things happened and the group blew up.
Great.
So it is time to start again looking for volunteers that will be trained and vetted before we needed them and before we would use them.
Well, I'll talk to him.
Because
I'm happy
the MRC does training every month.
to- happy to volunteer for that. That's certainly a good cause.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, great. Kumani, any updates?
No, no one ever responded to my email. I sent it twice, so.
That's part of what I'm gonna talk to him.
In the agent report? Okay.
Yeah, and it was just kind of outlined what the proper procedure was and how to go about it, and I don't know if maybe they just took that and ran with it, or they didn't like the email, I don't know.
Interesting. Okay.
But I never heard anything back on it, so.
Okay. Have we had any more problems?
Go for it.
Okay. Let's see. Chairman's update. The only thing I wanted to just make everyone aware of, there was a link sent by Lynn, by the town administrator's office, and Laura, the chair of the select board, for a webinar that was discussing the SJC ruling around the civility of public meetings, open meetings.
Who was it sent to?
It was sent to me.
I
and
got one, I know.
You got it?
Yeah, I got it. I had heard about it at the strategic planning.
Yep.
And I
Right.
forgot that it was this Monday. So the first one was about the Southborough charges. The second one is going to be this coming Monday about the civility, which I'm definitely going to watch.
Right. So I watched the first one, and I actually found it extremely helpful. I can send it, Teresa, to you if you want to.
Just for the minutes, I'm trying to grasp my head about
She
what
sent
it
out
really is.
today. As a reminder, she sent it out.
I am going to give it. I'm going to.
Saying that it was really good.
It was very good.
The TA.
It came through the TA's office.
Mine came from her directly, Lynn.
So it was related to the SJC ruling on the Southborough case, and which was related to civility and open meetings, and basically, what boards can and can't do in terms of intervening if there is contentious interactions.
Okay.
So I'll get the link to you so you have it for not only minutes but to circulate.
Okay.
I can send it to her.
Perfect. Thanks. Arlene's sending it. And that's it. That's all from me. So moving on to Gil, to the agent's report.
I think we're going to start off with the Camp Kawani deal here. The camp is looking to get their food permit for their kitchen. And we explained to them before they cannot get a food permit unless they have a serve-safe person on site. We've talked about this for a few years. Years ago, I'd say years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, Billy Boyle, who was the director there, was serve-safe. And any function that the camp had, he would be there on site, serve-safe. But now the admin has come in and talked to Teresa and myself also that they feel they don't need a serve safe person there. All they're doing is opening up their kitchen for caterers and things they do in the camp that may have some food. So they're ignoring what we're saying and explained again. We will not issue the food permit until they have somebody that is serve safe. We're drawing the line in the sand here now because this has been explained to them for 3 years now. Someone's got to be serve safe. Yes, the caterers that utilize the kitchen for heating food, yes, those people are serve safe, but they want to. Kiwanee wants to utilize their kitchen, but yet not have a serve safe person because they don't think they're doing the volume. They think they just don't need to do it.
It was agreed upon several years ago that all the people that were on the Recreation Commission would become serve safe. Remember?
Yeah.
And that never happened.
I have a question. I guess I'm confused about what kind of activities are they doing in that kitchen? Are they cooking and serving food? Is the caterer coming in and serving food?
Well, that's what we're asking.
Well,
That's
I know
what we are asking right now.
I know they had an event up there, and I saw it on Facebook. That's the only reason I know they had it. And somebody came in, and it was like a mother-child cookie event, and they baked cookies, and then they decorated them. We didn't know anything about it. They never notified us.
They baked cookies there
Yes,
using their ovens?
I guess that's what Dory. You heard Dory saying
Yeah.
that, right?
I would think in that event there would have to be a safe serve person there. It's not a caterer coming in serving food.
This has been explained to her again yesterday. She came in today, right?
She came in today too. Yeah.
And they're saying, why does someone, for them to have their kitchen open, why does someone have to be serve safe? Well, in order to have a food permit, someone has to be serve safe. We're going back and forth here, and
And I know that because I did it for a group that did a fundraiser.
Yeah.
They didn't have anybody that was serve safe in their group, and I went to their event because they were cooking on site, and I stayed the entire time so that they had somebody that was serve safe, so that they could serve food. So they're no different from that organization doing that kind of a fundraiser. If it's the rule, it's the rule.
it's
They
the
have
rule.
to
It was
follow
explained to her. It was explained to the admin again. Someone has to be serve safe. They're not going to get the food permit. They're not going to get the inspection.
Could I ask a question? Does someone physically present during an event from Kiwanee have to be serve safe? Or is it someone who oversees has to be serve safe?
It's when the kitchen is utilized by Kiwanee personnel.
I think her question is, do they have to
Do
be
they have
on
to be
site?
physically
there.
present?
Yeah,
Yes.
physically there.
They have to be physically
Yes,
present and serve safe.
The
Yeah.
previous director was there.
Yeah.
I mean, they had functions. They did functions there.
I think that's why initially it was the board members would be served safe, and they were going to run a class up at Kiwanee so that all the board members would be certified, and then somebody would always be there.
So it wouldn't be a
With
problem.
any restaurant, if you have a food permit, somebody on site is supposed to be serve safe, and there's supposed to be a serve safe person on site if you're open.
So that's
Plus, they also discussed, that was last year, the year before that, when they have functions, they wanted the caretakers and whatnot to serve food. So at that time, we explained to them, if they're going to serve food, they have to take a food handlers course, which is an online course. And they had agreed to that. If they used, caretakers, they would do a food handlers course with them. But see, now it's coming back to us and Teresa. It started with Teresa and then me, that they just want the kitchen permit, the food permit, and it's not going to happen with a serve safe person.
With the food permit comes regulations that they have to follow.
so.
That's where we stand. And
Just because it's Kiwanee,
Yeah,
doesn't mean
and
they can have special.
the calendar was
Yep,
given.
there's liability attached to this.
Right.
Yeah. And Teresa got the calendar. The calendar's been revised, which is still an issue, and I don't know how we're going to discuss this even further with them. There's 2 caters up there for Saturday that aren't permitted as of yet. So, I mean, we're back to the same thing as we were before, as far as the calendar goes. So, I just, I mean, I'll keep going at it the way that,
There's a fundraiser on Saturday. There's 3 caterers. I have paperwork for one. And I sent an email last week. Nothing.
and this should be, I mean, this is pretty much cut and dry.
Kevin, do you want to reach out to Frank? One
Yeah.
more time?
Yeah, I mean, I can,
I'm not gonna
Gotta
let,
make a
I'm not gonna let this go. We're gonna follow up with this too.
At the end of the day, my position is that we have standards and bylaws, rules and regulations that we have to follow. And, I think that if this continues to be a problem and having, regular conversations and appointing someone from our board to be the specific contact to help work on these issues and to not have that dialogue continuing, then I think, in my opinion, this is basic behavioral conditioning where we ultimately may have no choice but to shut down an event if it's not in compliance with our rules and regulations. And maybe that is where we're at.
Well, it's just, and then there's an event Friday night, and I'm talking to people.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I don't have the fee. She said she was going to drop it off tonight, but I said, I'm like, it's supposed to be 45 days. It's Friday. And then it puts us under the gun to get it done, and I'm only here half a day on Thursday, and it's like, I have other stuff to do. That's why this stuff is supposed to be done 45 days prior. I've sent emails, and it's just,
I usually don't get involved in this, and looking at what is coming across Teresa's computer, when she says, well, look at this, this is all changed. This isn't how it was set up before. Now it's all
on the
changed.
calendar.
And so it's, I think myself and Dory and we should all sit down and have a discussion, because that permit will not get issued. It's not going to get issued.
and it sounds like it should.
And the calendar being changed, I mean, it's not rocket science, but maybe people need a little bit of a push or something. I don't know.
We've made good faith efforts to attempt to resolve this. And
I mean, three members now. Now we're going to 4, and I really don't think it's fair to Teresa be chasing our tails so many times because things change, and it's just and. I think we'll have to address this week. I mean, this Saturday deal. Nothing will be done about that.
I think that's well within your purview here to address it and take it over as the department head.
I just don't understand it. We've had so many attempts here. So obviously I would say it's not us. It's not Teresa. I mean, when things change right in front of her face and she doesn't know, and it's something that should have been done a month ago. So
Any thoughts from either of you?
I just wonder why it's a common courtesy to say, okay, here's the calendar, we've changed it. To me, that's a common courtesy. We decided that we needed to tweak our calendar, so if you have any questions, that should have happened. But it seems like we fall right back into the same pattern. We talk about this, and then they do whatever, or something's being lost somewhere along the way. So I don't believe it should. If they can't fix this, then they can't have
Right. So my
no food.
Right. So my suggestion is that we extract ourselves from the push and pull and follow what we need to do as a department to make sure that the town of Hanson does not open itself up to any liability because we have not followed the regulations we need to follow. I can't see anything outside of that needing to be done if there's no one willing to come to the table for a discussion.
I have a question. Should we let them know that it has to be done Thursday by 12? Because she'll be out of the office.
I didn't notify Kawani, the caterer and the person that hired the caterer is very well aware, because the woman that hired the caterer called me on Friday. I called her back on Monday, and then she called me back today, and I said, if it's not here by Wednesday at noontime, it's not happening, because I'm leaving and I have other things to do.
I just wanted to make
And
sure
she
somebody
did get
else-
me, there were 4 things missing. She did get me everything with the exception of the fee, and she said she was going to drop the fee off today. And I said, I'm like, this is supposed to be 45 days prior to the event, not 2 days. Because then you have to stop what you're doing to try to put all, it's just,
And it's consistent. It's like we keep saying this is what we need to do to stop it, and but it still continues to happen.
Yep, we have things we need to follow.
yeah, because I think next
That
week
should be the
there's,
guide.
no, actually it's this weekend, the 3 caterers, and only 1 is permitted. And I don't have any paperwork. One of them I have no paperwork at all. And the other one, I only have partial paperwork. And I've sent them emails. I'm not getting any response.
Okay. Phil, you're on it. Any other points?
Just 1 or 2 other ones. You have a couple of people that are supposed to be coming before the board as far as one a tattoo artist, as far as a esthetician being a tattoo artist. And I've spoken to her. Another one is an art studio at 1000 Main Street. And I did a kind of a preliminary inspection on the place because there's no established flow for anything in that building as far as septic flow. And it's 700 something gallons, it's 770 gallons a day. So trying to establish how many businesses are in that building and trying to come up with a flow using even the water readings. And a couple of water readings like 150 gallons a day, which is very, very little there. So, and apparently the esthetician hasn't filed anything with zoning or you yet, right?
No, the esthetician I have paperwork with, but it has to sit on my desk because she has to have a public hearing. And if she's not approved by zoning has to approve first,
Getting-
and then we can
It's getting hung up.
do
So,
stuff. Because if it doesn't,
and the
I
other
do have
one,
the paperwork.
the other one, she hasn't done anything at all yet, and probably Carrie and myself might go there tomorrow, do an inspection, and say she can't continue doing an upfit to the space she's using. So
Okay.
that's about it.
All right.
Short and sweet.
Great. That's great. Thanks, Gil. Question for you on this Speedway gas. Oh yeah, it has your signature. Just curious what this is.
That's an inspection report, and that is for a food establishment, and you use the same report. So basically, it's strictly going to be a convenience store now. There's not going to be any fresh food sold or anything. Dunkin' Donuts are supposed to take this unit out of there, and they haven't done that yet.
Right.
And
Is it operating?
No, it's not operating. I mean, it's been, and that's why we've been waiting because because the Speedway 7-Eleven is going to be strictly convenience. It's not going to be any food products sold, food products prepared or anything. So, in fact, it's probably a waste of the inspection report using that one. But
No, because if they have a food permit, they have to.
They
Make
have
So
to be.
you don't. Do you need to complete
No.
these?
because half that stuff doesn't apply to them because they're selling bagged potato chips, sodas and stuff like that. The
More like
kind of
my
ice cream, yeah. They're starting to, they've eliminated some food products. The homemade ice cream they're selling, so they're kind of changing the store around. They're owned by 7-Eleven now. It's kind of a different.
They
business
are?
model. They've been owned by 7-Eleven for quite a while.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's what I've been dealing with the people from Texas.
None of this needs to be completed though.
No, just temperatures. Temperatures in the coolers and stuff.
Okay.
But before, because of the way that it was permitted, they were serving food.
Yeah.
When did they pull out of there? They closed like 2 months ago?
now. So,
It's been a couple months, I know.
Do you need to put the temperature? Actually, put the temperature on there.
I did. In the coolers. Go up to the top of the page.
I don't think there's a temperature.
Yeah, put the temperature there. Really good job. Because the cooler's just for soda and stuff. It's one.
Oh, they got milk and stuff there too.
Yeah, I wonder if there's more that needs to be filled out.
No.
I think I want to take another look at that. I think it's here.
Yes.
Be safe. Just go over it, maybe compare it with the last bit of
Yeah.
sheet and
Yeah.
this spot.
Cause we don't have, like, this temperature probe, that's nothing there, that's all prepared foods and stuff. Food show.
All right, so our next meeting is in 3 weeks, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So is that the 20?
Hold on. I want to say it's the 26th, but I could be wrong. 27th.
Somewhere around there.
Sorry, I'll be on a cruise, sorry guys.
Oh. Well, we'll all go with you on their cruise. We'll have the meeting on the cruise on the deck.
I'll be gone the 23rd to the 30th, sorry, I won't be here.
Are you trying to say we can't all go on your cruise with you and
And no
have
Zoom?
have a meeting on your
Yeah.
during the cruise?
We could Zoom.
And then I won't be here for the July 18th meeting. July 18th meeting, I will not be here.
And I'm leaving early
No,
on the
we just
18th. I have an appointment at 4:00 on the 18th.
Okay, so do we want to push our July meeting then, since Teresa and I won't be available?
When are you pushing it to?
I don't know. Let's get everybody. What do you have, Arlene?
I am open. I'm just thinking we will have Matt here, right?
Mm-hmm.
June 27th.
Okay, yes. So,
Oh,
1, 2, 3. I don't know if you want to go further or later. Do you know what I mean? Do you
So
want to go the 25th or? do you
I'm
wanna
not here the
do
25th.
We'll
let's
be 11th.
let's do the
11th?
11th,
Yeah.
and then let's keep the August 8th, because we have some items on that agenda that I don't particularly want to move.
So July 11th.
And then August 8th. So there'll be a little bigger bump in between the July and August, but I think that's fine. Summer's
Okay.
18th is now
Probably a little quieter.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And 18th.
Good. I haven't
Okay.
put my July schedule in yet, so.
All right. Everyone want to make a motion?
I just want to clarify.
Oh,
If
sorry.
you're leaving where it is right now, right? Okay. Because I thought somebody couldn't be here for the 8th, no?
I think we can be. I think we decided we have an agenda item on that.
Oh, okay.
That's fine.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
44.